This is CliffCentral.com. Auto Central, powered by AutoTrader. CliffCentral.com.
Yep, folks, welcome. It's that time of the week again. It is middle of the week. It is Auto Central time with AutoTrader. You're joining me, Chad Lukov, here in the studio. Hopefully you're listening in live, otherwise on the podcast. And it is really a small Friday, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Public
small
holiday
Friday.
tomorrow.
It's a nice hump day.
Love it.
Hey?
Wasn't yesterday hump day?
No, it's today.
No.
You guys
Did it-
said halfway is hump day.
Yes.
That's how you explain
Well,
it.
what's half of 4? 2.
And what's
But
half of
there's-
3?
Okay. I see what you mean.
There we go. Yeah, yesterday should have been hump day.
Bringing
then.
in the holiday. Yes.
You're already on holiday.
Hooray.
Hooray.
Yep, the voices you're hearing here, I'm joined in studio by George Mini. What's the handle there, George?
At George Mini.
At George Mini. I'm joined as well by Wilmarie Jansen van Rensburg.
At SA Speed Queen.
And then we have some special guests here, and it is chock-a-block because some of them don't even have microphones. They're sitting off to the side there, but we're going to yank them in just now. And we're going to give their handles away as well. Don't forget to join in the conversation here at AutoTrader SA and use the hashtag AutoCentral to join us with this one. Who else do we have in studio? Mr. Ewan Strydom.
Jeez, dude, I'm so happy you called me special earlier on. It's
Hey.
great, man. How's it, man? Nice to see you again.
Yes, great to see you. For those that are sort of trying to pinpoint the voice here, and they know the name, but they can't place the face, Expresso TV folk.
That's it. If you get up ridiculously early in the mornings at 6 a.m., that's it. Expresso Morning Show, SABC3. That's where we're at.
What time do you actually get up to get
Seriously?
to
All right, okay. 3:55.
work?
3:55
I was
every
gonna say
single
4.
morning. Hey?
I was on 4.
Yeah, that's great.
Close.
It used to be 4, but nowadays, you allow yourself a little bit of extra time just
5
to,
minutes.
just take a breather.
Just a makeup.
Dude, 5 minutes is a lot that time of the morning. Let me tell you. All right. Yeah, no, look, it's crazy early. Get to studio at about 4:30. Then all the prep work starts, man. You've got your makeup that needs to be done. You know what? We don't all look as good as we appear on screen, I guess.
First thing in the morning, especially not, hey?
Exactly.
You've just let about 2 million women down.
That's
Hey,
not
wait,
true.
he wakes up
No.
looking like a bag of
Me
slop.
personally, I take very little makeup. I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding.
Getting
I
that
actually
out of
want
the
to
way.
know, what do you allow, what don't you allow when it comes to makeup?
Jeez, you know what? This is funny, but I've been a model for many, many years, so there's very little that I wouldn't allow. It's almost like, it's funny. When was it? Just the other day, I was on another TV show where they literally put like weird eyeshadow on my face. It was weird. Don't even ask. But yeah, no, look.
So you allow it?
As long as at the end of the day, you need to look good. That's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, camera doesn't hide anything, hey?
It doesn't, especially that's almost like filming in HD. It shows everything.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, with the resolutions getting so much better, the makeup needs to get that much better because there's nothing hidden in film grain anymore.
Absolutely, man.
And the lighting is right on you. It's revealing every single little flaw.
You're
Yeah.
exposed. But it's
Raw.
fun. We love it. We love it.
You're in here with a very
Yeah.
coincidentally, you're joining us.
I am, yeah. This
with a
is
very
completely unplanned. Thank you,
yeah,
guys.
It's a very special reason that we've got you in here as well. And that leads me on to our next guest, who is here, going through the paperwork, quickly checking. And it is Sarah, correct?
Yes, it's Sarah Paweni.
Sarah Paweni. I wasn't going to try and pronounce that surname. I wasn't quite sure of it. I thought I was going to slip a disc or something. And you're joining us from Quebec, correct?
Yes, correct. I'm from Quebec. I'm the executive director of
Well,
Quebec.
let's get that
Can't
that
say
name
that.
right. Like,
Yeah.
you were telling me this morning. How do you really say?
Can I give it a try?
Try. You give it a try. I think you did well in the morning.
Quebec.
Okay, try again.
Quebec.
Sorry.
Yes, second time right.
That's a
Second
nice
time.
way of saying it. Do it again.
Yeah. All right. And George, do you want to tell us a little bit more for those that didn't actually catch last week's show, last week's podcast, and that AutoTrader has partnered with Quebec, and pardon me, I'm going to go with the very Caucasian way of saying it, but with Quebec to actually with a fantastic initiative.
Yeah.
You want to refresh our memory and let us know what sort of developments have taken place?
Yep. So we wanted to get. We've got over 100 sales staff in our business, and we wanted to get these sales staff company cars this year. And in true style, every business wants to brand their company cars. So we thought, well, we don't want to go the boring route of just slapping on a logo on the side of the car and, putting some sort of tagline that kind of represents what we do or some call to action. That's boring.
Yeah, and that's the run of the mill.
Exactly. Everybody does it, and it's easy to do. So we wanted to do something different. And And so what we decided is somebody came up with a bright idea. Why don't we partner with Quebeca and drive change in the country? And what does this change mean? Well, imagine taking 2 hours to get to school in the morning. And that is what some kids take to get to school in the morning. They walk for literally about 2 hours.
I mean, we can relate to that because, I mean, many of us will sit there and we'll sit in traffic for an hour, hour and a half, one way, every day type thing. And, you know, so we're losing 3 to 4 hours a day in traffic. Some of us are sitting even worse, you know, if we're staying out remote areas. So we can kind of relate.
Time-wise, not walking.
Not walking-wise.
No,
I
not
mean,
walking-wise,
yeah. Imagine how tired you are after walking for
That's
2
it,
hours.
yeah.
Would you really want to sit and learn? Would you really want to concentrate? So what Quebec has done, and I'll let Sarah do the honors. I'm not gonna even try and do justice to what they're doing, because what they're doing is wonderful. But what they're doing is they're getting kids bicycles. So we thought we'd partner with them and try and raise enough funds to bring 1 container of bicycles into the country to help these kids get to school quicker. And so the link for us isn't as much the bicycles as it is education, because we're passionate about education, and our link is we need to help the South African school kids excel at education. And if the kid can get to school earlier, if they are fit enough to be able to learn and raise their level of consciousness and awareness during the class, their grades will get better. And if their grades get better, the whole country's education level rises.
Just about everybody benefits.
Everybody benefits out of a bicycle to a child, and I'll let Sarah explain the details of that. So maybe we should do that, and then I'll get into how we're going to execute this campaign.
Yes, please, Sarah, do tell us more.
So Quebec runs a program. It's the BEEP program, so that stands for Bicycle Education Empowerment Program. That program focuses on putting school children on bicycles, eliminating the barrier of distance traveling to school to and from. The minimum distance that the children would travel was about 6 kilometers one way, so in total about 12 kilometers. By the time they get to school, they're tired, they're fatigued, they cannot concentrate. So we rely on donor funding to buy the bicycles. We purchase the bicycles and we implement in different schools in different places around the country. So in a nutshell, that's the BEEP program. Yeah.
George mentioned your goal is to get a container in. How many bicycles will a container like that?
So you're looking at about
Bring
320 bicycles per container.
So you can change the life of 320 people with one I mean, that's brilliant.
Well, Sarah and Matt were telling us a little bit earlier on last week that it actually affects more than one child's life.
Yes.
It affects up to 5 people's lives.
Per bicycle?
Per bicycle.
So do they share? How does that...
Matt, I think you need to dive in here. You need to grab a microphone.
I'm sorry.
Come share. You can grab a microphone here from someone. We'll put Ewan and George on a microphone there. Or
Yeah. You grab that chair.
just a quick reshuffling of the cabinet here.
But I mean, 320 kids.
I'm just thinking of that because that could be an entire school. Because if you think, let's say, okay, you're sitting with, let's say, 30 children per class in some of the bigger classes, which I'm sure is what you're encountering somewhere along the line.
Well, far more than that.
More than that?
Yes. So you probably look in a rural school, you probably look at about 60 students per class.
Per class?
Yes.
Wow.
That is...
We used to be between 20 and 30.
Yeah.
If you think
No, I mean,
about
I'm sitting there and I'm relating back to, a big class was 30 to 35 pupils, but you're saying there's now 60. I mean, that's a problem unto its own.
That's quite
in
busy.
that sense. And to have a child that's not paying attention in that class, they're not going to get their attention to sit there and up their game. The teacher's just going to skip over them. They're going to go to the children that actually want to learn. If we're perfectly honest. With such a task on the teacher's plate, you can't blame them for wanting to teach those that want to, and those that don't want to just sort of terribly sorry, you missed the boat.
And those who are willing to learn is those who still have the energy by the time they get to class.
Exactly, yes. The ones that...
So how do you say it affects 5 kids?
Well, joining us now on the microphone is Matt Fendrick, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you very much, firstly, for the opportunity to be here, as well as to Jordan team for this pioneering initiative. Very stoked to be a part of it. But to answer the question, so a lot of these beneficiaries of ours are head of the households, of getting up at the same time as Ewan does in the morning, not to put on their makeup, unfortunately, but to fetch water, to look after their siblings, often for elderly parents. There might be other relatives that also benefit by virtue of their child now being empowered, and actually having the independence to go out to school, to look after their chores, to look after the rest of the family as well. So yeah, and there are large numbers of students that we are looking at helping out. If we look at the current stats now, there are around 500,000 children who are walking that 2 hours each way.
500,000.
Which is massive. Our goal is in 2030 to have alleviated that. So right now
small steps, same.
Yeah, absolutely, baby steps,
yes.
But every little helps. And certainly now we are generating around enough funding to raise around 12,000 bicycles. So around helping 60,000 citizens. It's a full Ellis Park, Emirates Park, should I say.
Is this just from last week?
That would be amazing, but no, that's the year to date. So since inception of around, when was that, 2005, we've raised just under 60,000 bicycles. We funded those for 60,000 beneficiaries.
You know what I love about it is there's so many people these days who do some charity work or do some kind of a project like this, and people tend to not want to give money sometimes because they don't know where it's going or for how long it's going to exist or whatever, all those causes. In your case, you already have a set track record. I mean, since 2005. Yep. So you're not going anywhere. You guys are serious about this.
We're here for the long run. As I said, 2030 is when we want to alleviate the challenge and the social problem that we're addressing now, and that can only be done when we reach 50,000 bicycles per annum. So we're about a quarter of the way where we need to be. So again, such an awesome initiative that AutoTrader approached us with, and initially you're going, well, where's the synergy between cars and bicycles? Yeah, absolutely.
Drawing on cars.
Drawing on that. Yes. So we were very intrigued. But when you start delving into it a little bit further and the work that George and his team do and our mantra of mobilizing people, there was actually a lot more to it, than first met the eye.
The rabbit hole goes deeper, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think already in the conversations we've had with George and his team, I know Angie is already in year 5 in terms of where the plans are. It's George, you might have a challenge in reining her back in, but we look forward to seeing what comes up post this campaign.
Brilliant. So in terms of what we're going to do in this campaign, and we're very excited because with these cars we're going to give our sales staff, we held them back a little bit, and we thought what we'd do is we'd commission some artists, and we'd commission these artists to give us templates of artwork to put on the cars. So there's these templates, and you can go on to autotrader.co.za/drive change, and these templates are literally line drawings all over the cars, and these cars are scattered around 10 shopping centres around the country. And what we're going to do is invite the public to colour the cars in. And for colouring the cars in, there's a donation of 50 Rand, and for that 50 Rand you get a set of Sharpies. And Sharpie has kindly come to the party and donated the Sharpies for this campaign, and we thank them for that. And believe it or not, these Sharpies are worth over 400 Rand. So
for your in total
for the pack of Sharpies that you get to colour in the cars.
Wow.
And you get to keep afterwards. So you're actually making a very discounted purchase if you feel that there's nothing tangible for your 50 Rand donation. I mean, some people are like that.
Yes.
No, you are actually, you're getting something back, but you also get to contribute to such a bigger, better cause.
Yes. So these templates on the cars will be coloured in by the public, and every car will be unique. Every car will be a piece of art on its own, and we hope to create one of the biggest moving pieces of art South Africa's seen. And one of the reasons Ewan is here is because we're also going to be airing the process and some of the shopping centre initiatives on Expresso TV, which happens on SABC3 at 8 o'clock in the morning.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock in the morning.
Until 8:30. Come on, dude, you got to know your times. But yeah, no, I think it's great. I mean, I've seen some of the cars, with the templates this morning. Myself and George, we've been filming this whole morning. And man, they're awesome. I mean, it's such a striking design. I mean, it's beautiful, and I can only imagine what it's going to look like once it's colored in and the cars are almost released on South African roads. It's going to be great, but it's also going to be good to know that there's a story behind these cars, a really positive story as well. Because like I always say, there's three things that I'm really passionate about, and that is our country. We have a beautiful country. It's our children and it's the education in our country, and this kind of speaks to both or all three of those aspects for me. And being able to share that with George, and being able to showcase that on a platform that we can reach millions of people like Expresso, I think it's absolutely great. What a great cause.
I think I need to go colour in one of those cars because I need to get that passion back. I kind of lost it yesterday going to the license department, let me tell you.
Well, there's one downstairs if you want to go and colour it in.
Isn't there like it's
yes.
therapeutic, right? There's colouring in for grown-ups nowadays. This is like a bigger version.
Yes, this whole thing with our country, I think I'm going to go colour one half of that car in so I can just get it back, because don't go to the license department. I wanted to throttle
very
someone.
frustrating. Well, we do, and here at Cliff Central we have dropped one of the vehicles off, and the vehicle is going to be here at the Cliff Central studios downstairs, and the guys are going to have a go at it. And some of the other celebrities and guests that come past, they're going to contribute. They're going to start colouring in and going crazy downstairs with the vehicle. And we were actually speaking to, when we dropped it off, we spoke to Neil and Gareth here at the show, and we wanted to find out their thoughts on it. So I'm just going to play a quick little soundbite that we recorded of that. So let's see what Neil and Gareth had to say about that.
Amper.
Yeah, we're getting there.
No.
You want to see?
I'm waiting.
The design's looking good, and I think it's going to be lots of fun.
Should be good.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Neil.
Okay, Gareth, what do you think about the AutoTrader company cars and the Quebec?
I think it's awesome. I trust our people here and all of our guests to be able to do a good job of colouring it in. We've been practicing. We had a bunch of coloured pencils here the other day. You will find in Greg's office a full A2 size page, which has been coloured in beautifully. We're using that as our template, and we're going ahead from there. I'm convinced that the people here have a good eye for what art is, and they won't just make mistakes and bugger up something that's already got huge potential. And I think we'll have the best car by the end of this.
I think it's going to look fantastic. I really do.
Well, there we go. Gareth and Neil chatting about it. Yeah, got a bit of a Cliff Central car thing going there. The guys are quite excited about it.
But you guys are talking about, it sounds like in the future, but am I right in saying it's happening now? You can actually go now.
Absolutely happening now. So the cars are in the shopping centres. We're starting to see people begin colouring those cars in.
Well, I'm taking a look at a list here. So from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. is when the vehicles are available in the shopping centres. And in the Cape, we're looking at Tiger Valley, Canal Walk and Cape Gate. In Durban, Pinecrest and Gateway. And then in Joburg and Pretoria, we've got Menlyn, Centurion, Southgate, Eastgate and Fourways Mall. So there's a whole batch of places to go and check it out and that. And of course, on the AutoTrader site, if you go to autotrader.co.za, / drive change. Yeah, then you'll be able to find out more about it and find out the locations.
And you guys are also keeping everyone updated on Twitter of what's going on, what the cars look like, etc. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a big social media presence going on with it as well, using the hashtag drive change as well. So get in touch, get in with the conversation, and join the movement.
We think it's going to be awesome.
Fantastic. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to be chatting to another special guest, Alvin Kutsia.
Choice. Sometimes you have it, and sometimes you don't. AutoTrader gives you the choice. Now you can shop, compare, and buy new cars. Watch our expert video reviews and research before you buy. AutoTrader New Car. The choice is yours. Auto Central, powered by AutoTrader on cliffcentral.com.
And we're back, and thank you very much to Matt and Sarah for joining us there, chatting about the Quebec project. And George, really does seem as if there's a lot more to this than meets the eye. And we were just chatting now while the song was playing, and these bicycles are actually properly engineered for African conditions.
Absolutely. So Matt was just telling us that there's a lot of research that goes into the manufacture of these bikes, and they've partnered with Giant and a couple of the top bicycle engineering companies internationally. So these bikes are properly made. I mean, Matt was saying apparently the carrier at the back can carry 100 kilograms,
which is another person,
and that's what it gets used for. Yeah, and you can carry big bags of maize and chickens apparently, and stuff like that. So it's a properly strong bicycle.
Properly
Two
engineered.
goals.
2 goals.
100 Ks. I'm just thinking.
How are you thinking there? But it is. I mean, I was also doing a little bit of thought about it as well, and in terms of reducing the travel time. You know, if you're cutting down from 2 hours of walking down to 20 to 30 minutes worth of cycling, that's more time that, let's say, head of the household has to spend at home helping others with homework, whether it is fetching produce, something of the sorts, caring for the elderly. You know, so there's that knock-on effect is considerable just in terms of time saved.
Just like Matt says, it affects 5 people.
5 people, yes. Absolutely. Now, we did get somebody chatting to us here on WeChat, and of course, cliffcentral.com is where you can also get in on the conversation on Cliff Central. Naturally, only if you're listening live. The podcast it's pretty much, if you're listening to it at 12 o'clock at night, it's pretty much going to go straight over our heads. But Women of Colour said you approached the SA Embassy in Hague about bicycle donation. There are thousands of abandoned bicycles in the Netherlands. This costs the municipalities millions yearly to get rid of. Now, that's not a bad idea. But
I think it's a brilliant idea. Absolutely brilliant idea. I wonder if those bikes would stand the test of Africa.
That's what I was thinking now, is, you know, how would these hold up for African conditions and for the conditions? And these need to be hard-wearing, long-term bicycles. You know, these are bicycles that need to last longer than 10 years, 10 to 12, 5 plus. Okay, 5 plus years.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we'll do some inquiries. But my sense is that the nice pristine roads in Holland are not like Africa.
Not quite.
I know a few guys that'll test it.
We've got a woman here that will test it. What are you talking about, ladies?
I like engines, not paddling.
Let's take her motorbike away and give her a bike for a month.
Bicycle.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Well, yeah, a lady that knows all about the rigours of South African roads and hardship is our next guest, Alvine Kutsia.
Especially the off-road section, hey?
Yes,
I'll
the
test
off-road.
on the dirt for you. That's what we do for exercise.
For exercise. Well, we want to welcome Alvine Kutsia here, and you can get in touch with Alvine as well and join in on the conversation there. It's Alvine C23 on Twitter, and join in with the conversation. Now, Alvine, your claim to fame is, of course, that you are a motorsport personality, in the sense that you are a navigator co-driver for some big names out there with championship titles below the belt, or underneath the belt, let's say that.
She's one girl of, am I right, Alvine, of 2? Only 2 of you at the moment.
2 in the manufacturer's team, and Toyota team,
In the Toyota team. Yeah.
One of the top girls.
Honor Works Production.
Yeah.
So some of the accolades that you've managed to muster together over the past couple of years?
Yeah, look, I'm now with the championship going. We won 3 this year, so now I'm the most successful female navigator of all times, because I beat Minota von Bergen's record that was standing now from 1974.
Wow.
So I'm last year won the championship and on the way for a second championship this year. So 1 race to go. Hopefully, thumbs up. Gonna make it.
So you're one lady who can give instructions in a car,
and a guy that listens to me.
Well, I've always wondered, you know, a navigator in a rally car. It must be absolutely hair-raising to tell the driver to do something and then to trust that he's actually going to do it.
Luckily, with Leeroy Poulter as my driver, he's a fairly good driver, if I may say itself. Sorrel van der Merwe can back me up here. So there needs to be a sort of commitment and trust. It's like a marriage in a car, basically. So yes, you do need to trust that person next to you, and the same goes for Leeroy. He needs to trust me that I'm, on the call and not making a mistake myself.
So when you say left, it's left.
Yes, left.
So where does most of the risk lie? I mean, is it in the navigator? If the navigator gets it wrong, or if the driver gets it wrong, or is there equal risk?
Well, we got it twice wrong this weekend, last weekend, and I promise you it wasn't navigator's error.
Oh.
If I may say that.
So you called the notes right, and they just...
Yeah, it's how you interpret it, but we had to try. Look, we were on the boundary. We had to try, because it's for a championship now with Mark Ronier and the Fiesta. So we said to one another, we're gonna go and see what we can do. And we made 2 mistakes, and we paid for it.
It did cost you a bit, because I mean, you're
Yes.
sitting here with both your eyes very red.
Yes.
I mean, at least it's not TV, you know. So
Luckily not.
It's actually the first thing Alvin asked me. Listen, my eyes, and she's a bit blue. Well, you don't look bad at all, you know. It's at least battle scars. It's good scars.
Oh, thank you, Wilmarie.
Do you want to run us through what actually
Yeah.
happened the weekend though?
Well, it was Cape Town is always a very fast rally, so you're sitting on the limiter a lot. So at that point in time, we were catching the guys because we made a mistake on Friday and we lost 2 minutes. So we had to play catch up on Saturday to beat the Oaks, and we were taking quite a couple of seconds every stage. So by stage 9, we were going flat out, down a hill and sitting on the limiter, and we ran the stage previously early in the morning. So you go over a jump and then into another jump, and it's like a slight bend to the right. So the first jump we hit, with the car jumped up at the back. So on the second jump, we were just going too fast.
Basically
And
nosedive
so-
into it.
yes.
Nosedive into it, so back and front roll for 200 meters.
Oh, my
Luckily came
Eh,
no broken bones.
And for you to be sitting here just with a little bit of, bloodshot eyes from what is clearly a bit of whiplash and being
amazing
thrown
how
around.
safe that car is. Yeah,
is
no, it's
testament to
amazing.
the safety regulations and that,
Sure.
because that must be an extremely large thing. I mean, I'm a big fan of rally driving and that, and I do take my hat off to the co-drivers and the navigators and that are sitting there and relinquishing that control of a vehicle by sitting passenger,
Yeah.
and not being able to either look at the road either, because you got your nose in the pace notes.
Yes.
You're not looking up. You're calling the next note from what you're feeling.
Yeah, you
Am
feel
I
it in your
correct?
bum.
Yes.
You count the corners in your bum.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Leroy was saying that at the Toyota launch that we went to,
Yes,
the
yeah, we were
Hilux,
attending, yeah.
Hilux Million. And he was saying how sometimes you don't even look up. You're just literally
Yeah.
feeling which way he's turning to give the next
Instruction.
And I
Yeah.
mean, that's brilliant. But when this all happened, was there a moment of silence?
Oh, look, I saw this one coming. I knew we were flying, above the ground at that stage, and you have to kind of call 3 corners out before you go through them, because everything comes up very fast. So I saw this one coming. And then I heard my dad calling me in my head. He said to me, whenever you anticipate a roll, just grab your belts. Don't grab anything else. You're going to lose your hands.
Why
it
is
just
that?
went on.
Why grab your belts?
Whenever you are putting your hands out against the window, against the door, against the seat, something might push against the window or push. Like my navigator's book flew out of the car. I picked it up 100 meters northwest of where the car landed, and I mean the tools in the car also flying about. So you have to just brace and then keep your
Tuck
belts
in.
and tuck in. Keep your hands together, and then you're
Almost-
safe in the seat and the belts that'll catch you.
Almost like when you're in an airline and
Yes.
you do that
Brace position.
position.
That's it.
I suppose it's difficult to do in a normal car accident, but
Yeah.
the trick would be to keep your limbs together.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, keep everything together. Just brace yourself, and you'll be fine. I mean, the car is a write-off, but we're okay.
And Leroy, shame, because I mean, he could also not join us today because he's now going to
Yep.
have to go do some scans. Am I right?
Yes. I went for my scans on Saturday because obviously the bruising was a little bit bad. All cleared. I have a brain.
And it's still where it's supposed to be.
They're going to check if Leroy's got one today.
All right. I don't think he does. I think he's got rocks up there in his head. Because I mean, you've been going for him for quite a while now, and
Yeah.
you guys have had a fair amount of success. How many sort of accolades do you guys have together?
Yeah, we got a couple of wins and stage wins, and so it's me and Leroy as a team are kind of one of the top teams in the rally championship at the moment. Leroy's got a much more list of a good CV under his with Dakar. He's going to get Dakar again with Janelle de Villiers, and he's been a world karting champion as well. So, and now 2 weeks ago, Leeroy won his first off-road race. So that's why we're trying to win the rally championship as well. So that
you guys going for a double?
Yeah, he'll become the second person in South Africa ever to made it a double victory, double championship in 1 year.
In 1 year. And that's, of course, now they've changed it from the off-road. They're now calling it cross-country.
Cross-country.
It's now the
correct.
cross-country championship.
Yes.
And that's, of course, now we're using slightly more like Dakar-based vehicles. And these are now, that's now where we were testing the Hilux. Bill Marie and myself were on the Hilux Million test, where Toyota's got that quite astounding Toyota
T-Rex,
Hilux. Yeah, the Toyota, the Hilux Rex, which is a racing experiment, or racing experience, sorry, rather. And that one's running a 5-liter V8 under the hood of the.
Sounds incredible.
It sounds amazing.
Beautiful.
The video that I've got of it, I can just watch it on repeat and repeat and repeat. It sounds absolutely beautiful. Have you had a chance to drive that?
Not yet, but I want to set it as a ringtone on my phone because it's amazing sound.
It is that good.
Well, I was fighting to not sit in the back. When we went for the test drives with Leeroy, the guys, everyone wants to sit in the front seat. It's like, no, I'm sitting there too. I'm not sitting in the back.
I sat in the back, and it really wasn't bad, hey, because it's still very much a road-going vehicle. They've changed the front seat, the driver's seat, to a racing bucket, and they've put in a race dash and a racing steering wheel. But other than that, it's a road-going vehicle inside. You know, there's suspension and brakes and that. Underneath it, it's
Bucky.
It's a Bucky. It really is, but it just goes like stink.
That sounds great. But where you were saying that you were hoping for double win, does that mean it's off the table now because of what happened?
No,
is it still possible?
There's still hope. In 4 weeks' time, we're racing at Polokwane. So we basically need to win, and Mark need to come fifth or not score at all. We're just 8 points behind, so anything can happen. I mean, you racing person as well, and anything can happen in motorsport. Then you finish, then you win, then there's something. You have to have luck at some point as well. So, but we're going very hopeful into the last round.
So that is the last one for the season. I mean, we're at that point now where championships are starting to be decided, and things are getting really tough. You've only got the one, and you need a win, and Mark Renier, correct?
Yeah.
Now needs to finish fifth or worse.
Basically, if he doesn't finish, we need to just score more than 8 points.
Okay.
So, but
that would still be a podium, correct?
Still a podium. That will, and he not finish. I mean, there's so many situations and scenarios that can work out. Anything can happen. I mean.
So, are you out of racing now for a couple of weeks? Do you have to recover? Is there kind of some sort of preset rule or recommended rest period, or do you just get straight back into the car?
Straight back in the car. I think if the doctor said to me that there was a concussion, I had just had a mild concussion, so I'll be fine in 2 weeks' time. But at this stage, if he did tell me there was a concussion, that was it. I'm out. But luckily, I'm fine, and Leeroy is all right.
Die hard.
Generally in motorsport, when bad accidents happen, you need a medical clearance before the next event.
Okay.
Yeah, if that answers your question on that.
Okay. So is rallying in South Africa the same?
Yeah, exactly the same. You do go to hospital and get on the medical injury list, and then you have to have a clearance before your next event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've only got 4 weeks until the next event. That's not a lot of time to get the car ready in that. Now you're of course what is essentially, or many could class, a works driver, or a factory-backed driver, a factory driver team, or a factory team. Let's put it that way. How does Toyota respond to this, and will they have a car ready and available for you?
Yeah, we came with the truck with the 2 cars because Janelle also rolled at the Cape Town event, so we've got 2 cars now to fix. Luckily, Janelle's is just cosmetics, so it's just body panels. I spoke to Glenn Hall on Monday morning, and he said to me, Alvin, you recover, we'll fix the car. We can fix the car. So they got it ready, stripped already on Monday, ordered the parts from Toyota, and they'll get it back together in 4 weeks.
In 4 weeks, you're going to have it up and ready and running.
So panel beaters can't get your car fixed in 3 months.
This is racing.
This is not your normal panel beaters.
Well, there's not much of a car that remains. You want to tell us a little bit more about the car that you guys are campaigning this year?
Yeah.
As part of the Toyota Motorsport side of things.
It's a Toyota Yaris. So basically, it's called an S2000. This is just the normal Yaris shape, but the insides are not the same. So the dash is obviously stripped with the 2 racing seats, and then also the six-speed sequential gearbox, 2-liter motor, normal aspirated, and then it's a 4x4, as you would say, or all-wheel drive
All-wheel
vehicle.
drive, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So the Yaris doesn't come all-wheel drive
No.
standard.
And
And it's
it
Gets
doesn't
modified.
come with a 2
1500.
litre.
Doesn't come
or
with a 2
6
litre?
No.
or a 6-speed sequential. So it's
No.
it's only just basically a shape similarity
Shape
between the
similarity.
And
Toyota.
in a big price difference to the rally one versus
Yes,
the road
these
one.
car costs around about 3.5 million rand.
Yeah.
A piece.
Yes,
A
a car.
piece. Well, I mean,
Minus 200 when you roll it, and then back up.
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. What does an accident like that cost?
Well, depending on what you need to fix, but with our car, it's a complete write-off. So we need to basically build that from scratch. If the roll cage isn't bent, that will be great. But it's a complete, new rebuild with the diff and the gearbox and the engine. I mean, that Yaris will rolled into it looks like a Uno. So, so everything would need to be rebuilt on that. So luckily, we've got some spare engines that we can compete in the diffs and that sort of stuff. But yeah, they can definitely fix it, and they need to fix it in 3 weeks because we need to test the other week.
That's the thing.
That's
And
the other thing.
I just wanted to lead into that as well, because so many people do focus on the driver, and we've been guilty of it here, chatting about Leeroy and that. But I want to hear about a race weekend from your side. What happens from a navigator, co-driver side of things? What sort of preparations do you need to go through, and how does an ordinary race weekend pan out for the co-driver? You guys are largely the unsung heroes. The drivers are unable to do their jobs or drive anywhere near as fast as what they can without your assistance. But here's your 5 minutes of glory. Play it up. What goes through you? What goes through those few days?
It's a lot of preparation. It's basically 2 weeks out of a month that we need to spend on notes. So what we do, or what we get from the rally fraternity, is we get a DVD of the notes of the stages that we are driving on. Then a navigator takes that notes and you watch the DVD. Then you make your own, we call it pace notes. You write your own notes. So as fast as you can go in which gear you are going to take this corner. So then normally the weekend before, I've done that already, made the book, done all the homework that needs to be going into it. Then Leeroy comes and he sits with me, because now I need to read the notes to him. He needs to watch the DVD and then made the fine tuning of it. So if I said maybe on the third gear on this corner, he would say no, rather go fourth gear on that, and then or brake at the green tree and go to second gear on this corner. It might be a tighter one. So then he refines the notes on it.
And this is all before you've even driven the course.
That's before we even gone to the event.
You're still at home. You're still sitting in your lounge pretty much, or your office, wherever.
The whole Sunday we're sitting with it. The Monday evening, the Tuesday evening, and the Wednesday evening. So that whole week coming up to the event, it's normally like 17, 18 hours of studying these notes and fine-tuning them, because you can't just watch them once. You need to
It's like
look
mental
over
preparation.
It's mental
as well.
preparation. You need to know the road. You need to know what you're up to. Then we go to a rally on the Thursday morning. So the first Thursday morning when you get there, then it's called a recce. Now you get a private car that you can drive the routes on twice. So then even more, if we made it a fourth gear corner, now we can make it a fifth gear corner maybe. So, and all you can see, because now of 2 weeks ago that you've got the DVD, maybe there has been rain, the road has been,
Yes, I wanted to say,
see
things can
the
often
pebbles
change,
on the road,
can't
the
they?
surface has changed, they gone and scrape the roads maybe sometimes. So now you refine again, retune the notes. So then on the Friday morning, it's finally rally time. That's when you get into the car and do the stages, and then Saturday evening it ends basically.
Now, how long would an average rally, one of the championship rounds and that, what sort of distance do you guys cover, and how many stages make up that distance?
It's more or less 12 to 14 stages and 250 kilometers.
In total?
In total.
Okay,
well,
so
stage distance,
wise,
not liaison, not
stage.
Driving from Pretoria
yes,
to
okay,
Johannesburg.
of competitive stages, 250 in total.
Yes.
So you're sitting there with 15 to 20 kilometer, stretches of road that have got hundreds of corners, no doubt, in them, and that's why you're spending 17 to 18 hours.
That's when you're going over and over
and
again.
over and over that again.
Yeah, to make sure that this one is correct. I mean, And we still got it wrong. On Saturday, we made it a flat corner, and maybe we should have just tapped off a little bit. But then again, you lose seconds. You have to take a chance.
Yeah, every second
just sometimes.
counts.
Every second, and I mean, it's so close nowadays. You've got split seconds, and if you if you check Leeroy's times and you check Mark's times, it's 0.01 of a second apart in a 20 kilometer stage. That
over 20 kilometers with such variables of dirt and that, you're sitting and you're that close.
Yeah.
That is quite on the limit.
That's a skill. But Alvin, I mean, I know your background in terms of circuit racing with cars. What made you go to rally, to navigate?
And
because you're going from in control completely to handing it over.
Handing it over. To answer your question, Wilmarie, I won't go with anybody. This oak Leeroy is absolutely in control of the car. I never felt one moment scared in the car to go with him. He absolutely knows what he's doing. And it's so nice to do all the studying and do the work and get the fruits of it. It's so nice to approach a corner, and maybe the corner is different now because there's a rock in the road that another car pulled in, and you have to avoid this. So really talent matters. With the circuit racing, yes, you were in control, and it was great racing, but it's 8 corners at Swartkorps, and then you see what you can do. Over, do 12 laps of
repeated,
8 corners. Yeah,
repeated.
but with rallying, everything is different, and every time it changes, and it's the motorsport people there. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Would you ever want to drive?
Sure, that's a difficult one because I've done the circuit racing and the drag racing. I haven't got the motorcycle racing yet like you, Wilmarie. But I think the rally cars, I'll sit in the navigator seat.
Yeah, it's a whole nother ball game. I mean, we managed to drive that Hilux just in a short section. I think they were so nervous to hand it over for too long stretch for all of us. That is the first thing that excited me again since bike racing, since I've stopped with that. So, but it's like you say, it's unpredictable. So I can imagine, you're either ready for it or you're not, or want that kind of responsibility or not. So, I mean, if you have a good team like you have, because it takes both of you plus the mechanics and to make a winning combination. Then why mess with that?
Now, I mean, you've done a bit of racing yourself. You're sitting here with championship titles, and you're chasing now another championship title. What sort of aspirations do you have for the future? Where can we look forward to? Where should we be keeping an eye on for you in the future? Are there Dakar aspirations there?
Oh, for sure. I'll still keep on hoping every year. I'll give my 2 front teeth to go to Dakar. Never mind the eyes. But for sure, it's definitely a dream of mine to go to Dakar. And I'm sure in the next couple of years coming, it will happen. We're already talking about going cross country with me as well. Getting that side as well, and then moving on to Dakar. But for sure, that's a dream.
And when do you think you'd make the transition over into the cross country championship?
Hopefully next year already.
Looking for next year already. Once again with Leeroy in the driver's seat.
Rob Howie, as at this moment, he's navigating for Leeroy there. Yes. So once Rob has stopped, or we are talking about it. But once that transcript, is happening, it will go over to that. Yeah,
it fends through.
Yeah.
But I something else that you've been involved with. Your everyday workday with Swartkorps for a very long time. Tell us a bit about what you do there, because you also have a very big responsibility at Swartkorps itself. So I mean, you are literally just motorsport. You love motorsport. You live for it. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. That's basically my life, isn't it? Motorsport and cars. The circuit racing at Swartkorps, it's phenomenal. The oaks that you meet there and the things that you need to do, the event planning, all the driver training courses there. I mean, it's just, that's my life. That's what I live for. And hearing all the cars every day, it's amazing.
How long have you been with Swartkorps now?
Swartkorps 7 years.
Oh, are you? Okay. All right.
Wow.
So,
I mean that is quite a haul. I mean, there's a lot of change and development that happens over the course of 7 years in motorsport. I mean, you and I have both been involved in motorsport for
For a long time.
For a long time.
Some faces stay forever, and then some are
unfortunately,
short-lived.
some stay forever. It's not always sunshine and roses, and sometimes the wrong people move on.
But Alvin, you would know, as a lady in motorsport, it is tough. Okay, but there is some amazing guys out there as well, like Leeroy's one. But in racing itself, who would you say has played the biggest role for you in terms of mentoring and helping you?
Sure. Glenn Hall would definitely pops up to my mind. That's our team manager in the Toyota and Hall Speed. He builds these cars. Glenn Hall is definitely the way that he approaches a scenario. He never gets stressed or never gets angry, and he's so calm and collective. Leeroy definitely, he's amazing. He never fights in a car ever. He makes mistakes, I make mistakes, and we go on from there. I mean, that there was a silence moment every now and again, but yes. I mean, we never fight in the car, and he's definitely a role model for me. There's so many. There's great oaks, as you say, Vilmarie. I mean, Graham Nathan, Gary Formato, Michael Stevens. Those oaks are really, they're passionate about motorsport, and they do fight for what they want. But just the way that they're racing, and they really embraces what they're doing.
And it is great to hear that. I mean, you're mentioning a couple of really big names in the local industry there, and it's always great to hear that there's some positive praise and comment coming from the big names. It's so easy for them to get lost in the glitz and the glam of it and just become this unapproachable person that's just almost self-centered. So to hear that these are the big names and they've managed to stay true to their roots and their passions and that's fantastic. I mean, it bodes brilliantly for the future of motorsport.
Yeah. Look, there are obviously, as you know them as well, Chad. There are some that you can't speak to or whatever.
Yes.
They got the chip on the shoulder, but
yes.
good for them.
Yes. Yeah, no, you let them. You do whatever they need to do. And you just let
do
them
your thing.
Yeah, you do your
just
thing.
do your thing.
But have you ever been in a race car?
I have driven an F3 car. Actually.
Oh, really?
I have. Yes, it was part of a challenge. And
I'm
it was
officially
amazing.
jealous.
Are you? Have you ever been in one?
No.
One of my bucket list moments is single-seater open wheels. I've not had the chance. The closest I've gotten to that is karting, and it's still bucket list moment, drive a single-seater open wheel Formula car.
I was pretty surprised that we actually got to do that. It was part of a competition that I was, a finalist for many years back. Myself and George were just talking about it this morning. What an incredible experience, man. You know what? It's not something I've never been, in terms of, racing. I've never been involved in it. I've always just kind of watched here and there or whatnot, but to be able to sit down in that car and know that you are in full control of it and you're going at some crazy speeds, as a first timer as well, what an experience. So I have the utmost respect for these races, absolutely do. And just listening, to what has been said here this morning, I want to ask you quickly, what drives you basically to do this? Because I think it's mostly a male dominated sport, and I mean, how do people view you? How do you find yourself in the industry as well? And what goes through your mind? Because the way you speak about, we had an accident, our car looks like a matchbox now, it's fine. I think for a lot of people out there, fender bender is a big deal. I mean, you rattled for months, How do you view that?
That's so true.
That is fact.
I think motorsport is different than when you will have an accident on the road, per se, because you know that you're safe. Yes, it is a man's world, if you want to call it that.
It's perceived that, and in numbers it is. But
but it's for me. I was never had to feel that I needed to be a man to do this job, and it's not like a man is going to change the tire if our car get flat. So it's not a gender per se sport in rallying. We all doing the same championship. There's no female championship or male championship. It's one championship, and you go for it. So they don't see the gender, and I don't see the gender. But my mom still tells me to wear makeup and polish my nails and wear the jewelry. But when I put the helmet on, it's you do the same times, you do the same notes, you're doing the same homework. So it's just go.
So what kind of car do you drive in everyday life?
Toyota 86.
A Toyota 86.
Oh, okay.
So you're all Toyota.
Mad respect.
Yeah.
How long have you been with Toyota?
I think 5 years. Yeah, 5 years.
Wow.
That's wonderful. And it's so nice to see a manufacturer like that investing this much into, besides the everyday consumer, in terms of what they produce, but in racing, because it is an expensive, very expensive, doesn't give you money back sport.
Well, it gives you technology back. So
Yes,
they
because we
learn a
were
lot.
talking about that, because
They're written off as
technology-wise,
R&D,
that's probably it,
Yeah, that's their R&D, Toyota and VW. The R&D is in racing.
Yeah.
And they're passionate, because at the launch we were speaking to, I think it was Kerry.
Yes,
And she was saying, and you can see her eyes sparkle when they talk about motorsport.
Absolutely.
And
She was here that weekend as well in Cape Town. It's a phenomenal woman as well. You have to be built for it, because she's just awesome.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining us. It absolutely is fantastic. I want to thank all of our guests. Sarah, Matt, you guys are still in the studio here and sitting off to a side.
We'll test
there.
the bicycles when you get it.
Yes.
Okay.
Ewan, thank you very much for joining us, and
Such
we'll
a pleasure,
see
man.
you on Expresso shortly. Alvin, thank you very
Thank
much
you,
for
Joe.
joining us. Absolutely insightful. And, of course, to my two co-hosts, George Minnie and Wilmarie Jans van
SA
Rensburg.
Speed Queen. But
SA
listen,
Speed
just
Queen.
quickly before you say bye, please send our regards to Leeroy and the team and you
Thank
guys,
you.
and
Absolutely.
I hope everyone gets better soon.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, I just want to stick with a little bit of a anecdote that I found there. Now, Ayrton Senna was, of course, one of those greats and there was many memorable quotes that came from him. And one of his quotes was, "If you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver. But if you go for a gap that no longer exists, you're Pastor Maldonado." And in light of that, there is actually a website that you can go to, hasmaldonado crashed today.com, and that'll give you a
Is
countdown.
that his website?
No, that's just a website that tells you whether he has crashed today or not and how long it's been since his last crash-free day. So quite entertaining. But we want to thank you guys very much for tuning in, for downloading the podcast, for all our guests here in studio. Please get in touch with us at AutoTrader SA. Go and check out the website for all our news and our reviews, and join us in the conversation either at cliffcentral.com on Twitter using the hashtag AutoCentral, or on at AutoTrader SA. Same hashtag AutoCentral. That's all from me, Chad Lookoff. We'll see you guys. Tune in next week.
Yes. Goodbye
Same time,
from SA Speed Queen.
same place.
And cheers from George Minnie.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Auto Central, powered by AutoTrader on cliffcentral.com. This is cliffcentral.com.